Welcome to the HR Chat Show, one of the world's most downloaded and shared podcasts designed for HR pros, talent execs, tech enthusiasts, and business leaders. For hundreds more episodes and what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit HRgazette.com.
Welcome to another episode of the HR Chat Show. Hello, listeners. This is your host today, Bill Banham. And joining me back on the pod is my friend, the awesome Lindsay Clayborne, Chief of Staff over at Cardata, the fully managed vehicle reimbursement partner, helping organizations replace outdated car allowances with smarter, fairer, and IRS-compliant solutions. Last time on the pod, Southern Ontario-based Lindsay and I explored the basics of why a strong vehicle reimbursement program matters to both employees and employers. This time, we'll go a step further. We'll look at how HR and people leaders can use AI and data-driven insights to improve fairness, boost retention, and free up valuable HR time, all while ensuring compliance and reducing tax waste. I hope you enjoy this conversation that I had with the amazing Lindsay Clayborne. Lindsay Clayborne, my friend, welcome back to the HR Chat Show. How are you doing today?
I am so excited to be here, Bill. I am doing so well. And as we were just saying before we started recording here, it's been a long time.
It's been too long. And I was just sharing with you before we hit record, it's been way too long since I was actually in Toronto, despite that being on my LinkedIn profile. So I need to get back over and we need to get together in person. But for today, we're going to catch up online and then we're going to share this wonderful content with the masses. Firstly, Lindsay, it's been about a year since we recorded with each other last time. And since then, I understand that you are climbing that corporate ladder. Congratulations on the promotion to Chief of Staff. How does your new role differ from your previous position at Cardata as Director of People and Culture?
Yeah, great question. So I am still overseeing our people and culture function, which is great. I mean, that's my first love is the people and culture side of things. And in this role, it's really an expanded role that is all about helping to bring clarity, streamline processes, faster decision making, really being a force multiplier across all of our functions. And as I've learned, the chief of staff role looks very different in every single company, and it evolves over time, even in the company that you're in. So initially, it was really helping to set the foundation around our OKR planning, our quarterly planning, our annual planning, helping with budgeting, and then started to shift into how do I actually help solve problems across the organization and help ask the right questions or just ask questions in general to really get to the root cause of things so that we're solving the root cause of them, not necessarily the symptoms. And so obviously we have to do that in people and culture, but we can do it in any area of the business. And so it's been really great to get exposure to the other areas. And I think in turn, it's allowed me and helped me be a better people and culture leader as well.
Very good, very good. Well, I suspect also that Cardata knew that unless they keep promoting you, they may lose their best asset. So well done, Cardata, for making that decision. So since we last spoke as well, I'd love to hear from you. What new trends are you seeing in how organizations are managing vehicle reimbursement programs?
One of the main themes that we've seen is that companies are really looking to have a more comprehensive view of their mobile workforce. And what I mean by that is it's less about just making sure we capture the miles and we do the reimbursement and people are compliant with not only the legal requirements of the programs, but also the internal company policies. But they're wanting to have a more comprehensive view of the driver's driving behavior, the training that they're offering, They also, so they want that more comprehensive view to make sure that they're managing all aspects of what is involved in having a mobile workforce. And then the second thing, which is probably not unique to vehicle reimbursement and just HR teams more broadly, is that they want to have a more streamlined, integrated, and automated process for completing vehicle reimbursement. And so we're seeing people wanting to be able to automate the mileage capture, wanting to integrate it with their existing systems, wanting to also bring all of their drivers under one umbrella. So even if they're on different programs, keeping it all under one provider instead of having it separated across different systems and different teams, even within the company, having it under one umbrella makes it really centralized and much easier to manage.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the HRchat Podcast. If you enjoy the audio content we produce, you'll love our articles on the HR Gazette. Learn more at hrgazette.com. And now, back to the show.
Okay, very, very good. So we're now going to move to the main focus of today's conversation. And it's this thing, listeners, that you may or may not have heard of. It's called artificial intelligence. I think it's been in the news recently. Lindsay, when you think about AI in the workplace, what excites you the most as an HR leader?
Mm-hmm. What a time to be getting the opportunity to go through this transformation of bringing not only AI expanding in its capabilities, its applications, but really the foothold it's starting to take within organizations. And so what excites me about it is a couple things. One is the job enrichment that it's kind of naturally creating for people, being able to automate things that are tedious or repetitive or they previously required someone to do it, even if it was not the most mentally stimulating thing. And so the natural enrichment that it's giving people to be able to automate those things, focus on the work that they actually enjoy. It pushes them to use their creative thinking, their critical thinking. So kind of the natural job enrichment that it's creating, the opportunities for upskilling that, and making people more valuable in their careers by having more skills, because they have to not only know, because those things are being automated, they have to be able to do more things, but that are a higher level that AI can't do. They also have to know how to interact with these things. They have to know how to properly ask it things and interpret the responses and think critically about the responses. So there's also just a natural upskilling that's happening. And the last thing that's exciting about it is the experience of going through a period of workplace transformation. The last big time this happened was when the internet really started to come into the workplace. And, most of, I think a lot of people were either just starting out their careers or maybe they hadn't started working yet. So getting to go through that, it's kind of a first time in a generation. And so that's exciting too, to be able to go through the experience and one day be able to look back and say, well, I remember when AI first came into the workplace. And so I think just the natural experience it brings for people will be valuable later on down the line when the next transformation happens.
I love your positivity. I'm just coming on the back of just a couple of days ago reading the AI 2027 report. So I'm feeling a little bit hesitant about the future, but I that's just one possible scenario. Let's go with your more optimistic one.
Okay.
Although, just being serious for a moment, there are a lot of folks in the workforce who are a bit worried that AI is going to completely replace their jobs, not just augment functions, but completely replace their jobs. If we look at, for example, the functions of sourcing and recruitment, a lot of those positions that were there 2 years ago they aren't really there anymore as they were, and lots of people are no longer in those roles. There's a lot of talk about AI being a disruptor, of course. From your perspective, therefore, how can HR make sure that AI is more of a partner than a replacement?
Mm-hmm. Great question. When I think of just partnership more broadly, it's that partnership when you're working, let's say, with another person is or with another company or whatever it may be, you have some kind of common goal that you're working towards, and each of you are bringing a strength to the table that is going to contribute to you being able to achieve that goal. And so I think when we think of AI being more of a partner, it's we have to know what are the strengths that it's bringing and what are the strengths that we're bringing. And I think what that means is like recognizing what the limitations of AI are. You know, it from a strengths perspective, you know, it can aggregate huge volumes of data very quickly. It can analyze huge volumes of data very quickly. It can take a natural language query and be able to interpret it in a way that, you know, previous search engines and search functions, you know, couldn't. That would require us to take more time to be able to actually interpret it. So there's a ton of strengths, but I mean, what it can't do is bring the context. It can't bring the real world nuance that happens. And so I think understanding what its strengths and what its limitations are, and then applying it appropriately. I mean, I don't know about you, but every day I see on LinkedIn, you know, this company, you know, cut 85% of its workforce and replaced it in AI. Like, I interpret that as, well, that's just the pendulum swinging pretty far, and eventually we're going to see, you know, some of those companies be hiring those people back. And I think that that's obviously a huge disruption. I think what we're going to see more of is certain parts of jobs, or potentially even big chunks of jobs being replaced with AI. But then what does that maybe allow us to do that we hadn't in that job that we hadn't previously been able to do? So for a sourcer, for example, maybe they're not having to spend 8 hours a day doing sourcing. Maybe they only need to spend 4 hours reviewing the candidates that sourcing tool is bringing in. Can they spend that 4 hours sitting in meetings and getting the context of the teams they're trying to hire for? Can they be looking at data and helping to make better data-informed decisions? So there's potentially, yes, a contraction of the number of jobs, but the quality and the opportunities in those jobs might be more. And I think that's where, yes, the disruption is going to happen, but you can still get a lot of value and you know, use it as a partnership.
Based on my experience of you and Jenna in the team, I think that Cardata is full of pretty cool, hip people, obviously.
Well, thank you.
Just on that recruitment piece, when you guys are now, because you're in a more senior role than the last time we spoke, when you guys are now making plans for who you want to bring into the team, has the characteristics of that ideal candidate changed as a result of the rapid onset of using AI within the workplace? So what I mean by that, for example, are you guys more about we just need people who fit with the culture and are open to trying new things and learning new technologies, as opposed to a couple of years ago when maybe it was around they need to have these skill sets, they need to have this experience?
Yeah, I definitely, to a degree. I mean, culture has always been definitely important, but I think that continues to be important. One thing I have noticed is we've incorporated more questions to assess what you just said about that being open to learn new technologies is what are these candidates bringing in terms of, yes, they may have experience using it in their current roles, but those are going to be few and far between, I think. Having like a true, what people call AI native candidates. What I think I've seen the shift is just asking more questions to assess what is their curiosity? What have they even taken some steps to try ChatGPT or try an AI tool within their domain? Have they been doing any reading? Like, are they curious about it? That curiosity is such an important characteristic. It always was, I think, for us, but now in the age of AI, that curiosity. And I think from a soft skills perspective, critical thinking is important too, because that's a key part of being able to use AI effectively. So I would think those are two shifts that I've seen over the last 6 months really being spurred on by not just the rise of AI, but our own internal goal to accelerate the adoption of AI and the high ROI use of AI.
So just continuing down this track for a minute, if you don't mind indulging me, going to what you said there at the end in terms of encouraging team members to try new tools, to learn more about AI. What happens when you have colleagues that perhaps been at a company for a number of years and for whatever reason they're just not comfortable with learning these new technologies? How can you encourage them to adopt that mindset so they still want to continuously learn and go outside of their comfort zone?
I like to understand, do they have a fear? And actually, it was really surprising because same way I thought we were going to have more people that were resistant to or afraid of what it could be. And we actually did a survey as like an initial step to our AI acceleration journey. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that the sentiment around it was much more excitement. There was a couple people that were unsure, but I don't believe there was anyone that was like, no, not excited about this at all or not interested in this at all. So I think that comes back to what is the culture profile characteristics that you're bringing in the first place. But even if we do have those people and they just didn't want to say, or they are exhibiting that, I think education is a powerful tool. So one thing we're focusing on right now is educating around, what is sensitive data? What is sensitive data within each domain of the company? And how do we give people tangible tools to know what kind of data can go where and what kind of data shouldn't go where? Like, that's a very tangible thing. And so I think when you make it accessible and educational, knowledge is power. So hopefully they feel more comfortable knowing what they can and cannot do.
As a wonderful, cool senior HR/people leader, maybe you can help me. How can HR and people leaders strike a balance between leveraging AI for insights and still keeping that empathy and those personal connections that's so critical in people operations?
Yeah, great question. And probably the pinnacle question that so many HR and people leaders are dealing with. I see a couple of things going back to what we were saying before about like the kind of natural job enrichment. If we can automate tasks that don't require humans to do it and that aren't the areas where we're going to have like high human interaction, like uploading someone's information and creating their profile in an HRIS, like that doesn't need to have someone do it. It can be automated. Like AI could automatically do that, or running a report or whatever it might be. So it could free up our time to be able to have more human interactions, which on lean teams, lean people teams, can feel like it's hard to come by. So I think it's just being very selective of where you're going to use it and how you're going to use it, and making sure that you're not using it. You have the checks and balances too of where you're using it that can ensure that you're not missing out on an opportunity for human interaction. So yeah, it's being selective. I don't know if that's even the best answer, to be honest, because I think we're all still figuring it out. But that's my initial sense is it can create actually more time and opportunity for us to connect with the people that we're serving.
Absolutely. And yet we need to be more mindful of it, more purposeful. Because before it was when everybody worked in the office and you didn't have all these robots doing loads of things for you. I guess back then it was just easier to build up those connections because people are around you all the time, right? These days, what I'm hearing from your answer there is you've got to be more purposeful. You've got to make those opportunities, create that space to still bond with your colleagues.
And I think that has through every evolution. One thing that has consistently popped up in my mind over the last couple of weeks is, we used to have someone that pushed a mail cart around in our offices, and they were someone that could create connections by like delivering the mail. And, that was a part of human connection. And then we switched to email. So we didn't need that person anymore. So we then had to find a way to connect with people. We had to find a way to connect with people in other roles. And so that was maybe going for coffee chats. So there's always that evolution of having to find ways to connect with people. I don't think is necessarily anything new. It's just happening once again.
In your experience, how can AI help HR have a stronger voice at the top table, especially when it comes to connecting people priorities to business outcomes?
The number one thing is like we mentioned, one of its strengths is being able to aggregate a ton of data very quickly and potentially connecting much larger data sources that's disparate and being able to do that. So when we have that, when we can automate that and we have that data, we can, again, use our strength, which is the contextual side. We can spend more time in the meetings with the teams or working with the leaders to really understand, well, what does this data mean? Why are we seeing these things? And I think it will just naturally open up an opportunity for HR leaders to focus on the ways that they can understand the business more, to then bring that context back to the data, and being able to, with a lot of AI tools, like use our natural language to be able to ask the questions and then get the data in return is huge, because no longer do we need to be like data scientists or data analysts. We can be HR people, and let the AI and the software do the analytical stuff for us.
We are flying through these questions. Just a couple more before I let you go for today. When you're looking ahead, okay, so maybe pull your crystal ball from under your beautiful table there and look into your crystal ball. When we're looking ahead, maybe 5 years, what do you hope the relationship between AI and HR looks like?
I hope that HR leaders are at the forefront of knowing the risks, the benefits, and the specific applications of that to their business, and they really are kind of the HR or the AI transformers within their business. And so that's one thing I hope. But more than anything, I hope that it unlocks a time where or it unlocks kind of an acceleration of what I think has been unfolding over the past like 10 years, which is HR people becoming much more business centric, and not just seen as a cost center, but really being able to understand and articulate their value and the value of the things they're doing in the context of the broader business. So I really hope that it's something we take the opportunity now to be leaders on and be thought leaders on, and business transformation leaders on, because we have the skill and the ability to connect the people with the technology. And I hope we take advantage of that.
Excellent. And just finally for today, Lindsay Clayborne, how can our listeners connect with you? Is that LinkedIn, Instagram? Do you want to share your email address? Are you all over the TikToks and places? And of course, how can folks also learn more about Cardata?
Sure thing. LinkedIn is the primary place. I have fallen off the bandwagon with Instagram, tried the TikTok thing, also fell off the bandwagon very quickly. So I am reaching my LinkedIn only era right now. So definitely would love to connect with anyone there. Always down to chat. Love being able to soundboard ideas. So connect with me on LinkedIn. And of course, if anyone wants to learn more about Cardata, cardata.co. You can also check out our YouTube channel. We have a ton of really great informative videos there with one of our key personalities internally. And we're actually going to be at a bunch of events coming up in the fall. We will be at NBWA, which is a huge conference for people in the beverage space. So I would love to connect with people there. And I will also be at the Women in Construction conference in September. So would love to connect with anyone there.
Excellent. I'd just like to add to that, when I finally get my butt back over to your side of the pond and I'm running another Disrupt HR in Buffalo, I would love for you to be a speaker down there, given that where you are based.
I would love that. Yeah, I mean, Buffalo is just a hop and a skip over the border there. So would love it.
Okay, we can talk about this. Excellent. That just leaves me to say for today, though, Lindsay, thank you very much for being my returning guest.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It was so great to see you again. Let's not let another, year and 4 months go by, okay?
Okay, sounds good to me. And listeners, as always, until next time, happy working.
Thanks for listening to the HR Chat Show. If you enjoyed this episode, why not subscribe and listen to some of the hundreds of episodes published by HR Gazette? And remember, for what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.